Welcome to the Talking Free podcast. As the girl who has always been told she talks too much, can speak with a mouthful of marbles underwater, and can sell ice to Eskimos, I have found the perfect platform to have my say, freely. I am here to share with real people, having raw conversations about authentic stories. It is a place where you can feel safe discussing anything and everything. These stories will make you laugh, cry, debate, wonder, intrigue, and get curious about life as you talk free with Trudy Marie. Please note that the following podcast may contain discussions or topics that could be triggering or distressing for some listeners. I aim to provide informative and supportive content, but understand that certain themes may evoke strong emotions or memories. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or in need of support while listening, I encourage you to pause the podcast and take a break. Remember that it is okay to prioritise your well-being and seek assistance from trained professionals. There is no shame in this. In fact, it is the first brave step to healing. If you require immediate support, please consider reaching out to Lifeline on 13 11 14 or a crisis intervention service in your area. Thank you for listening, and please take care of yourself as you engage with the content of this podcast. Welcome to another Talking Free episode. Today I am here with Michelle Warren, who is a friend. Actually, no, you're practically a sister. I've known you my whole life, let's be real. And she is from Kalgoorlie and is a very talented artist. So welcome, Mush.
Thanks, Truth. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this chat.
Me too.
I've never done a podcast before.
Well, first time for everything. Thank you so much for being here. So let's start at the beginning as to how you became an artist.
How did I become an artist, Truth? Well, as any young child at the age of 6, I was living in Laverton. So my family, we grew up in Laverton. I spent my childhood in Laverton. My father used to dabble in watercolour paints, and his mother, my grandma, she was a beautiful watercolourist, especially landscapes. So when she was living in Laverton at the time, she'd go out bush and do wonderful landscape pieces in watercolours. And lucky enough, we've all got a piece of hers, so I've still got that on our wall. But anyway, Dad used to sit me down when I was 6. I remember, Truths, because he used to own the local supermarket in Laverton for a number of years. So he'd bring in some very minimal art supplies, and I would sit down and he'd show me how to paint trees and paint light through trees. So I actually started off, painting trees, and then obviously all through schooling. I used to do art always through schooling like most kids did. And then when I got to year 11 and 12, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And Mum and Dad were adamant that we all had to come out with some sort of degree. They didn't want us just to leave school and just get a job. They were just very nut, you got to get something behind you. So that's when I decided to do graphic design. But I'll be truthful with you, Truths, I didn't know what graphic design was all about. I thought it was just sitting down drawing pretty pictures. So good old Kalgoorlie College, we used to have because we moved to Kalgoorlie after we lived in Laverton for a number of years. Good old Kalgoorlie College was offering the 3-year graphic design course, and I did that. And it was completely not what I was expecting. It was more design work. But in saying that, Trudes, with graphic design, when I was doing graphic design, we had to do 8 units. And 8 units covered things like photography, illustration, topography, drawing, painting, design. So there was 8 different units. But I found whilst I was doing graphic design, I was actually enjoying more the drawing and painting side of it. So, but anyway, I graduated as a graphic designer. I was actually, looking back now, and this is going back in 1988, it was only a handful of us that graduated. I remember I had to go around Kalgoorlie to promote, hey, what do you do? I'm a graphic designer. Yeah, but what do you do? Because the people in the Goldfields didn't know what a graphic designer really did. So at the time, I was designing a lot of business cards, logo designs. So I did that for a number of years, bit of freelancing, decided I really didn't really enjoy it. And then I went back to, Kalgoorlie College. It was Curtin University, sort of like took over Kalgoorlie College. And that's when I went back and studied more the fine arts. So I did drawing, painting, and then did that. And then I went on to study more illustrations. So I sort of like found my niche there that, yeah, instead of design. So, but yeah, I've got the graphic design behind me, fine arts, illustrations. So,
Do you think that that's helped you through your career, is actually having those stages of doing your graphic design into then doing the fine art degree, that you kind of evolved as an artist, but it gave you an appreciation for all the other bits and bobs that go with it?
absolutely, absolutely. Because when I started off, and we'll probably talk about this, when I started off doing art, I was sort of like in this mindset where if you didn't do something picture perfect, you really wasn't an artist, you know. And I tend to find, well, especially back in my time, I don't know, it's probably changed now. I am glad that I've learnt all the fundamentals. I've learnt how to do, like, you look at perspective and composition and colour theory. I'm glad I learnt all that. So my work, when I started off and so I graduated and did freelance, my work was very, very realistic. So I did a lot of portraiture work and figurative work where I felt like that for you to be a good artist, it had to be realistic. And I really, really didn't enjoy that side of it. So hence why what I do now, which we'll probably talk about later, is what I enjoy doing now is more illustrations. But I suppose it's like any sort of career, it's you've got to find your niche. You've got to find where you're at to make you happy, you know?
I do. And it is. It's like it's taking that time to, yes, you're an artist. Yes, you can do all these things, but what actually lights you up? What are you passionate about? What brings you joy when you actually do it?
And that's where I'm at now with my style of work. Absolutely.
So, what style of work do you do now?
Yeah, go like it is very illustrative. The reason why it's very illustrative, I work with in black and white polychromo pencils and watercolor. So it's very illustrative. You can either, to me, people can either see it in a kid's book, but to me, I think it's breaking more boundaries than also because my style that I do and what I actually do, I really couldn't put it in a kid's book. So to me, it's thinking outside of the box. I've sort of like gone off the rails a bit with my style. I've developed a Michelle Warren style, basically.
But that's totally and uniquely you. And I think that that's the beautiful part of it is like, I really latched on then when you said breaking boundaries, because
Mm,
you started off in this realism art that had to be very almost like photographic style to copy a portrait. But now
yep,
you're breaking those boundaries to literally
correct.
do how you see life and how you find the humor in life and
That's it.
how it occurs for you, which I think is amazing.
Thank you, Truth. Yeah, no, I definitely enjoy breaking boundaries. I don't look, if I go to an exhibition, Truths, if I go to an exhibition, and in any exhibition you always have your different categories, I'm more attracted and drawn to those who thinks outside of the box, who work is, different, very different. I'm more drawn to that style of work than to realism. It's just, yeah, and I don't know whether it reflects because your personality. I don't know. It's just what I like. But then everyone like said, oh, art is really in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? It's what you like. So I'm just more drawn to. They call it naive art. It's very different, very, very, very childlike.
It is, and that's what I love about your work.
Yeah,
Like it brings a smile to my face whenever I see your art.
yeah,
That's what I'm drawn to is this light-hearted, youthful, childlike naivety
yeah.
to it,
That's
like
it.
you said,
Yeah,
that just people can't help be happy when they see your art. And obviously I'm talking about this artwork like you are, with our listeners probably going, what the hell is she talking about? What is it that you actually illustrate?
what do I do, True? What do I do? Everyone knows me. Actually, I do dogs with big balls. I don't know if I'm allowed to say balls on the podcast. I can say balls. Okay. So I do dogs with big balls. And it's really quite funny now because I really don't put myself out there as like in your face. I'm not, my art will be sort of like in your face, not me as a person. So I do get people in general who get to know my art before they see my face. So I do get comments to me when they finally see me. Oh, so you're the mad C, who does all those dogs with big balls. And I say, yes, I am the mad, who does the dogs with big balls. So everyone knows me now. I've got who's the artist who does big balls. So with dogs. So that's what I do.
Yeah, and look, I love it. I mean, I'm the proud owner of one of your original pieces, and it's quirky and it's humorous and it has pride of place on my wall because it never not makes me laugh or smile, especially if I'm having a bad day.
That's good, Trude. That's what it's there about, isn't it?
It is.
It's the humour in it.
It is the humour. And that led you to then be invited to do Heart Walking Kalgoorlie.
Correct. I was part of a collaboration of other artists, was to try the idea of Heart Walk. It was back in 2017. It was basically to make Kalgoorlie look beautiful with art. So basically the idea was to bring in many artists to paint murals on walls around Kalgoorlie. The first time I ever dabbled on walls was actually a window. So some of the local artists had window displays to work on, while the more established, well-known artists from out of Kalgoorlie had all the big walls. So I painted this big dog with big balls up the top of Hannon Street. I believe it was the talk of the town. Has anyone seen that dog with the big balls? And I believe even the mayor of Kalgoorlie, Boulder at the time, loved it, so which is a tick. But anyway, I got to friend with a wonderful mural artist who does magnificent work. He's from Perth, and we got chatting during Heart Walk, and he said to me, Michelle, don't ever change. Don't change your style. He said, because it is like Aussie humour now lost in art. And I said, exactly, it is Aussie humour now lost in art. You don't see it anymore now. And he said, it actually reminds me, Michelle, of Mambo back in the 1980s, and you've sort of like brought it forward to the 21st century with your style and that humour. And so, but I said to him, I said, no, I've got no intentions of changing. It's just what it's what I do. I could break boundaries with it. If I want to add one eye bigger than the other, I could do it. Or if I can make him hairier with, basically it's just breaking boundaries, Trudy. And that's what I like to do, because art is about breaking boundaries.
Yeah, and I think because they have this almost like illustrative, cartoonish quality,
Correct.
Is that there are no rules inside of that. But then at the same time, I think because it is a dog, and don't get me wrong, we all love our fur babies, but I think you can have some of the humour with it and it doesn't offend people because it's not a person. You're not making fun of how a person looks or anything. No. You're literally taking it. And let's be real, we've both lived in the goldfields. We've both lived in like Leonora, Laverton area where there are a lot of camp dogs, a lot of stray dogs, and they have personalities and characters of their own. And I really see that coming through in your work.
Thanks, True. Thanks. Well, like I said, at first I didn't know how people would react. This is the Heart Walk back in 2017, because the whole window was just this big, massive dog with these. And my husband said, make the balls bigger, even bigger again, Michelle. I said, yeah, all right. And I didn't know how people would react. But like I said, it became a talk of the town and, no harm in it. So then Heart Walk, they did 2 years. It was a 2-year thing. So in 2018, we all had different artists that came in from out of town to continue painting more. And I was one that the lady who started it, she said, Michelle, I want you to do it on walls. Can you do it on walls? And I said, yes. So I've gone from windows to walls. So I decided to do it down the alleyway. So the idea was, let's just do some quick dog, what do they call it? What's the word, Trudy? Just put random dogs everywhere and people basically had to go and find all the dogs.
Like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, it's like a treasure hunt. Yeah, like a treasure hunt. So I just, all the way down the alleyway, I painted a heap of dogs. I did a couple of big mural ones, and then I also threw in not a dog but a cat, and I called it the Wandering Pussy, and that really went off as well. People were talking about the Wandering Pussy. Have you seen the Wandering Pussy? So I've sort of like developed these characters whilst breaking the boundaries, and it's just what I do, Trudes.
And you know what? I love it. And especially the take on words, and it's almost crossing those little taboo lines. Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it quirky? Is it cute? Like, it's just, and it's a talking point. And if you've got people talking about your work, then that's already a win. Because love you or hate you, they're noticing it.
That's what my sister said. My sister said to me, Michelle, if people are talking about your work, even if it's bad, it doesn't matter because it's still getting your name out there. And she said whether it's good publicity or bad publicity, it's getting your name out there. But, I mean, our local MP, she's actually approached me, and her name's Ali. So straight away, Ali Cat. And she's asked me if I could do a cat for her next up-and-coming elections. I said, yep. I said, what, do you want the Wandering Pussy? And she turned and she laughed. So I'm going to work on something similar to that, but obviously, you know, make it a little bit more classy than the Wandering Pussy down the alleyway. But people embrace it. Some maybe don't, I don't know, but it's out there, Trudes.
Yeah, and you've had the opportunity to do a number of solo exhibitions and also collaborative exhibitions, and then you also submit works to various different art prizes as well.
Absolutely, that's it. I over the years, because I've been doing this now for close to 40 years, true, a long time, so it's not giving away my age, but I have exhibited many throughout the state, just in exhibitions. I've had a couple of solo exhibitions and a couple of collaborative with, fellow artists, and obviously the big exhibitions like the City Bold Art Prize is coming up soon, so I'm working on a piece towards that, and also doing commissions. But I say to people, if they want me to commission, it's got to be in my style. So one, it's got to be my style, and two, I don't copy other people's work in regards to, like one time there, someone wanted me to do a Disney character, and I said, no, won't do it. So I just don't copy other people because I'm a character artist. It's got to be my style. It's got to be my characters, and people are happy with that. So when I do commissions, it's definitely that.
Yeah, and I love that because then it becomes uniquely you, and it's your take on whatever the person wants.
Absolutely. So I refuse to copy other people's work. I'm very, very funny like that. But people are happy with that, Trude.
No, that's good to hear. And so inside of all that, obviously, art has been your career, as you said, for nearly 40 years. And it's obviously had its highs and its lows, which leads me on to my next kind of part of your work and where that has led. But how does your artwork integrate with your own mental health journey?
Right. So it helps me a lot. I'll be openly say I suffered depression. I've suffered depression now for nearly 30 years. And looking back now, when I was at school, I had one friend, and I was pretty much not a loner, but I didn't have a lot of friends. But I always felt like I was the oddball, especially in my family, because I come from a family where my siblings are great sports people, all right, and very good at any sport. Where I never did that, I would always just stay in my bedroom and paint. And it centered me, sort of like kept me happy. So yes, it helps me immensely because I do suffer depression. I suffer anxiety. And my husband says to me, Michelle, if you're not doing your art, you're a complete different person. But if you ask a lot of artists, not just visual artists, whether musicians or actors or actually in the arts as a whole, we all have some sort of underlining issue there. So the way we express ourselves, it's really important. So unfortunately, it does run in the family. And unfortunately, my grandma, the one that I mentioned before, who was a beautiful watercolorist, she took a life through depression. So it does help me immensely, especially over the years.
Yeah, and I can see that connection, like it is such an important thing, not just for your own personal journey, but there's been a history in your family, which has then led to your next, I suppose, project in its own right of your very special character and what you're doing with that particular character.
My dogs, my wonderful dogs. I'm at the moment. I created these dogs on shirts. Now, what happened? I needed a work shirt, so because I was painting murals. So I said to my husband, "I'm going to create a work shirt." So I had Michelle Warren art on the back, on the front, my dogs were the big bulls. And it was actually my sister who rang me, my older sister, and she said, "Michelle," she said, "Graham, it's her husband, would like to have one of those shirts." I said, "What for?" It's my work shirt. No, he loves it. He wants. So he was the one who, because I spelled on the front of the shirt, I have my dog, and then underneath I've got DAWG, DAWG. And he was the one who said, "So it's a dog." I said, "What? It's a dog." So it was his idea. I'll give him recognition for that, give him credit. He was the one who said DAWG, dog. I went, how cool is that? Instead of just dog. So anyway, ordered a shirt for him. Next minute, his son-in-law wanted one. And then, before you know it, every man and their dog, pardon the pun, wanted a dog shirt. And that's been 3-4 years ago. So that's how that stemmed out. And then just recently, I said to my other sister, "I'm going to bring the shirts back in." And she was one who said, "Michelle, because I suffered depression and you understand, and let's raise some bit of money for mental health." And I said, "Yeah." I don't tie it in with Black Dog. Straight away I put a thing, it's got nothing to do with Black Dog because it's what I do. I do dogs with big balls. I've been doing it for years. So I made sure that was quite clear. It's got nothing to do with Black Dog. So at the moment, I'm currently selling these shirts, and part proceeds go to Mates for Mates, which is a local Kalgoorlie Boulder mental health, and the other one is for Women's Healthcare Centre in Kalgoorlie Boulder. So it's also for women's health care with problems. So part proceeds. I am thinking November, which will be Movember in November, which is more male mental health. I'm thinking about doing a donation then, and then we'll go from there. So at the moment, it's just part proceeds from these shirts will go towards these two fantastic local places in Kalgoorlie Boulder to support mental health.
And I think that's amazing. Like the fact that you're creating this amazing artwork that is a talking point in its own, and you're combining it with something else that in the past it's never wanted to be spoken about, and it's only been in more recent years that mental health and looking after your own mental health has become a huge thing. And I think combining the two and having them related with this tagline of dog, I think is incredible, and it's such a good cause. And your shirts are obviously available for people to purchase. They can
absolutely
contact you through your Instagram or your Facebook, which is Michelle Warren Art.
Yep. Like I said, you definitely contact me through. I have two designs currently at the moment. I have an orange one, which was the original design, and now I've moved to another design, and I'll call it Fat Dog. And it's got a blue background with Fat Dog. But once again, it's in that very childlike, whimsical design that I do, sticking true to myself. And then I just changed the names underneath. For the original one was called Dog, obviously, and the next one's called Fat Dog. But yes, definitely contact me. And then, like I said, part proceeds go towards the mental health, the local mental health in Kalgoorlie Boulder.
Yeah, and I think it's an amazing cause, and I think,
Thanks.
if it raises awareness and people can have a little bit of fun with it. I know both my husband and I have a dog shirt, and it does raise questions. People are like, "Oh, what's that all about?" And you can have that conversation with them as to,
absolutely.
It's a friend who's an artist, but it's also, links back to mental health, and it's something to raise awareness for. So can you give us a little hint as to what your up-and-coming artwork is for the city of Kalgoorlie Boulder?
City of Kalgoorlie Boulder. Okie doke. I'll give you, Last year I did called Mushy's World, and it was a very stylization, illustrative, supposed to be a little character of myself, and looking down on a dog because basically it's the depression side of it. So I was quite sad, but a dog was looking up at me because I love my dogs, and obviously it's what I do. So I incorporated my dog. But this time I'm doing another character, not so much me, but a representation of me in the same sort of, style. And it's going to be "Why Fit In When You Were Born to Stand Out" by the Dr. Seuss quote. I love it. So I've sort of like based my little character on, it's a painting, and that little character is going to be wearing a dog shirt. So I'm going to be painting the dog shirt on this little character. So that's my up-and-coming piece that I'm working currently on now for the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder Art Prize.
I love the idea of that, is that you've just taken another piece of your own work and then inserted it. It's like art on art.
art on art, exactly. And I said that to my sister. So I said, she goes, what are you doing? And I said, yep, she's going to be wearing a dog shirt. And hey, I'm here, I'm different. So that's my piece, Drew.
I'm excited to see that. Like when it see it come to life and what it brings.
I'll have to send you some snippets.
You will. And for all my listeners out there, please take the time to go and check out Michelle's work, because
Thank
you
Drew.
cannot not smile or not laugh or just get the humor behind, something so ordinary as a dog, but none of your work is ordinary. It's these beautiful, structured, black and white drawings that just bring humor to all different aspects of life, which is what I love.
Thanks, Trudy. I'm glad because I often get people say to me, well, why do you do? I did say in one of the heart walks, we all had to put in a bit of a bio about why we do what we do. And I basically say to people, I don't want people standing in front of my work and trying to get too, some people can get too involved and make it very complicated, because at the end of the day, Trude, my work isn't complicated. It's there just to put a smile on your face. I don't want to get the whole big, deep and meaningful why behind the balls are so big on the dog, because it makes you feel all lovely and soft inside, and it's just because it's fun. There is no explanation why I do it. It's just fun, because my work is not, I'm not a complicated person. I'm that not in regards to, like I said to you, Trude, this is my first podcast. I didn't know what to do, because I say to people, I feel like I'm still stuck in the 18th century. I work with a quill under candlelight. So there's nothing complicated about me, so it's very simple. So my work's I keep it fun, keep it humorous. It's very light, and it's what I enjoy doing.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing a little insight into what it is about becoming an artist, how you've changed your style and evolved your style over time, how to consider breaking boundaries and just doing something outside of yourself, and then supporting a really beautiful cause inside of all that. So thank you so much for being a part.
No, thank you, Trude. Thank you for having me. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been fun. It wasn't that hard after all, Trude.
I'm so glad you found it that way.
Next time we can have a cup of tea over a podcast.
I know, right? And I'm going to ask you one last question to finish up, is what are you grateful for today?
What am I grateful for today? I'm grateful that I'm still here. I'm grateful I'm still here because since turning, I won't say my age, I'm starting to feel like, what have I done with my life? And that sounds really, really silly, but you know what? I've done a lot with my life. I have done a lot with my life, and I love my life. I've got a wonderful family, great friends. I'm lucky that I could be in a situation where I can stay at home because I've got a supportive husband who lets me do what I love doing. And so I'm grateful I'm just here. I'm just here enjoying life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Talking Free podcast today. If you have an idea for a future episode or a story you'd like to share, then please message me, as I am always up for real, raw and authentic conversations. If you love what you are hearing, then please be sure to subscribe to hear all the latest episodes, and spread the word to your family, friends and colleagues so they too can listen in. If you are sharing on social media, then please be sure to tag me at _Trudy _Marie _ so I can personally acknowledge you. I am always open to comment about how these episodes have resonated with you. It would also mean the world to me if you were to leave a 5-star review to ensure the Talking Free podcast is heard by more listeners around the world. And remember, lead with love as you live this one wild and precious life.